Yo, before the video start, like always, like, comment, and subscribe. Stuff like this will be posted. It's up to you if you're gonna get the notification or not. Enough of that. Enjoy this video. I'm gonna catch y'all later. Deuces. NZDCAD, updates on NZDCAD. Trade is still valid. You can still see that the 4 hour is still bearish until we go and break this lower high. As we drop down towards the 1 hour time frame, you can see where our entry came. Our entry came before the pullback was established, and I was looking to really get in an early entry and just continue to route this trade towards the downside, but this trade ended up retracing a little bit deeper than I expected. A good thing is it never went to go break this 1 hour high. If anything, it formed that double top formation, which is good. And now on the lower time frames, you can see it's see clear as day. I drew this area of support out this morning when I broke it down, and I'm looking to see that break of structure. Right, and instead of us having a break of structure occur right here, we can see clear as day the 15-minute time frame give us a break of structure of the recent higher highs, continuing in this uptrend market. And then come later tonight, I do see price trending bearish, going to break those recent support levels, coming back up to retest, and then giving us our entry, which we want to see, right? Just waiting on the next break of structure on the 15-minute time frame to be established. Right now we are above this zone. In the next 2 hours and 22 minutes, if this 4 hour candlestick can close back below, we would look good to possibly look for sales come later tonight. So we'll have to be patient, wait for the lower time frame, such as the 15-minute time frame. So I was waiting for the 15-minute shift to structure like we're doing right now. It should continue towards the downside come later tonight. You can see how price, well, I was going to lie and say this was a head and shoulders. It's not the cleanest example, so I'm not going to use that. But we are forming this resistance, are forming this support, and as long as we can see price continue to trend towards the downside, we're looking good for sales. Like I said, this was a good trading opportunity. Just on the 1 hour time frame, we did not allow that 1 hour to establish the pullback. We got in before the pullback was established. So early entry is what it is. We wait for later tonight for a better setup. Y'all, what's good? So today we will be talking about how we was able to catch this trade on NZDCAD, how we was able to turn that $56 into $207, and simply going to break it down, show you all step by step what we did to be able to do that. All right, so on the daily time frame, I always start off with that daily time frame, and on this daily time frame, we use it to identify our trends. Like you all know, daily in the 4 hour, identify the trend, 4 hour area of interest, lower time frame, take our trade. So on the daily time frame, I was able to identify that we were in this downwards trend due to price giving me a break of these recent higher lows. After price broke this higher low, you can see how that then formed that lower high due to this being the last previous high point before price established this break of structure. Once price broke past this area of interest, I then looked for the retest, or again the retracement of this daily time frame. So after this daily time frame started to form this pullback, that's when I marked off that lower low, as you can see. And as we're forming that pullback, I'll drop down towards the 4 hour time frame to again identify structure and my area of interest. So on the 4 hour time frame, typically the main objective is to find the area of interest where we're looking to take this trade from. The daily and the 4 hour, more than likely, well, not even more than likely, with the daily and the 4 hour and the strategy that I use, whenever the daily is establishing the pullback like we saw right here, once the daily starts establishing this pullback, typically half of the times the 4 hour is already in sync with the daily time frame, being in a downwards trend. So as we drop down towards the 4 hour time frame, you can see how well in sync we were, right? You can see how the 4 hour was trending bullish in this upwards trend. Price then had the switcher structure going to break these recent higher lows. After price broke this structure and you saw price start to retrace, you can see again on the daily time frame, how this area of interest is in sync with that daily area of interest as well, or is played a part of support and resistance on the daily time frame, right? And I don't want to get off track, so we're going to stay going, right? So the daily, we were bearish. After the daily formed the retracement, that's when I start going to the 4-hour time frame to have an idea of where I can see price bounce from, right? Already knowing that the 4-hour and the daily are in sync towards the downside, my objective now is to find an area to where we can see price bounce from, right? And typically this area of interest is just the recent break of structure on the 4-hour time frame. So after the price gave me the break of these lows to where you saw price treat this area as support, and if I zoom out and look towards the right, you can see how we also treated it as resistance once before, right? And when I'm using my area of interest, I like to see more than 2 taps into this zone, right? So after I saw price reject not once but twice, and again for the 3rd time, solidified this zone as being a well respected area. And due to us forming rejection, bouncing, and pushing towards that opposite direction, I wanted to see the same thing happen once we get back underneath this zone. Again, when we are above, you can see how price treats it as support, and when we do break below, you can see how price treats it as resistance as well. So after finding this area of interest on the 4-hour time frame, now I drop towards the lower time frame, the entry time frame structure, right? And you can see our first position, we caught our first position, we had a little push into profit, then price ended up reversing and then going to hit our stop loss. That is only because on the 1-hour time frame, you can see how the 1-hour time frame as well was in this bullish trend. As we was in this bullish trend, you saw how price gave us the break of structure right here, and I was trying to catch this whole entire momentum push back down towards the downside. But like we all know, being a break and retest trader, we know after price gives you a break of any direction towards the upside or the downside, you can see how price gives you a break, has a retest, continues, gives you that break, has that retest, continue. So after price gave me this break, I did not wait for the retest to that zone to then continue back down towards the downside. Instead, I wanted to enter off of that bearish momentum push and possibly look for this trade to continue towards targets. Unfortunately, you can see how that played against us and price hit our stop loss, but I was not worried. Why? Because we just talked about the break and retest. The only thing that was establishing right here was the break past recent structure, and at the moment price started to have the retest of that recent structure. But as we're having a retest of that zone, you can see how we jumped back above this area of interest. Like we just talked about being above, you can see it's treated as support. I want to see price below, treated as resistance, and then continue towards the downside. As we broke back above, you can see looking towards the left how this area looks like we broke past this recent high. That's when I grabbed my tool, aligned my tool at the body of those candles, and I dragged it towards the right. When I dragged it towards the right, you can see how price, instead of giving me a break past this area of interest, formed this beautiful double top formation, also finding rejection towards this minor area of resistance. After price formed that rejection, we can then see price reject and have that second push, potentially going back down towards the downside. So after we had that push, again, you can see how we are above the zone. Price reached that zone, formed support, had the bounce towards the opposite direction. As price was pushing towards the opposite direction, us being patient, we wanted to wait until price got back below. So as price is dropping back below, as you can see right here where I found my entry, that's when we drop towards the 15-minute time frame. And on this 15-minute time frame, I say it all the time, after we are able to identify the trends off the daily and the 4-hour and identify our area of interest off of the 4-hour, we use the 1 hour, 30, and the 15-minute time frame for our entry time frames, right? And the only thing we are waiting on for our entry time frames is the switcher structure from bullish to bearish, getting in sync with the higher time frames. And after that switch from bullish to bearish, we wait on our entry confirmation, aka our entry signal, being a bullish or a bearish engulfing candlestick. In this case, since we are in a downward trend, we are looking for a bearish engulfing candlestick. So as the 15-minute, as you can see, was trending towards the upside, it found that rejection, again, rejecting this 1 hour resistance. And as price is pushing back down now towards the downside, you can see the first break of structure occur. That first break of structure happened when we were above this zone. Again, you have to be disciplined when it comes to your plan and your strategy. If you can obviously see when we are above this zone, price is treating it as support. Why would you take a trade, riding this trade back down towards this area of potential support? You wouldn't. You would instead be patient, wait for price to break past this area, giving you a clean break or a clean signal that price is getting back underneath. Price is still trending in this bearish trend. And like we just talked about, it is below a very, very, very respected zone. So after price had this first break of structure, again, I told myself, let's just wait because we still are above this area of interest. So as price pulled back, you can see how price formed this beautiful retracement. And then we had another continuation, breaking past that recent lower low, giving me a continuation in this downwards trend market. After we broke past this lower low, if you take a look, where are we at? We are clear as day back underneath this area of interest that was once treated as support. And also, as we broke back underneath the zone, what did price leave me with? You can see clear as day this beautiful bearish engulfing candlestick, our entry confirmation. That is when I found my position after price showed me the break of structure, the continuation, if you will, of this downwards trend. I put my stops just above the zone because if you take a look, you can see how well price is respecting this zone, right? This is a zone we found on the 1 hour time frame, and on the lower time frames, it is showing signs of respect. So I decided to put my stops just above, and in my target zone, like always, we're just targeting the next structure point. So originally, our first target area was these 4 hour lows, right? And I told my Discord, hey, if we was able to break these 4 hour lows, I can see price reaching this next area of support. Again, just being an area of where price bounced and rejected once before. Right? And as you can take a look, as price reached that first target area, not only did we hit our first take profit, but we obliterated that area of interest, also taking out the second area of interest as well. And the only thing we was able to do with this trade, being able to catch it, was we waited for the shift of structure. We waited for the lower time frames to get in sync with the higher time frame structure, showing us that price wants to continue in this direction, that the overall trend is heading. After we did that, we simply just waited for price to get back underneath an area of interest where we marked it off, waited for our entry signal, and rolled this trade back towards the way it was heading. It was simple as day. We did not overcomplicate anything. The daily time frame showed me that it was trending bearish. Not only did we trend bearish, or are we trending bearish, but we are now back underneath this strong area of interest to where once we were treating it as support, right? And if we're treating this major area of interest as support, again, having more than just 2 taps into this zone, if that is happening, what is the possibility once price breaks below that zone that we can treat it as resistance? Well, I'll say it's pretty high based off of the amount of rejection we are having based off of all time frames. Again, daily time frame is bearish, 4 hour time frame is bearish, and the 4 hour and the daily are in sync, which you can see. Not only did we have that, but we also had the shift of structure on the 1 hour time frame, going from bullish to then bearish, and also showing signs of resistance while respecting it. And as we are showing signs of resistance, as the 1 hour, the 4 hour, and the daily time frame are now in sync, again having 3 time frames in sync, which is already more than enough to enter a position, we now want to wait for the last confirmation. And what is that last confirmation? That last confirmation is the shift of structure. Once price went from bullish to bearish, and once price had this first original switch of structure, we wanted to see second price get back below this zone. Again, just being alert and looking at price action alone, you can see when you are below this zone, price treats it as resistance and continues in that direction. And when you are above this zone, price treats it as support and continues in that direction. So our objective, like we said before, was to not only one, see price go from bullish to bearish, but as we go bearish, see price get back below this zone, which we did right here, which also left us with a beautiful bearish engulfing entry confirmation. After we got that, like I just said, found our position, stops just above that zone, and then target, since we are in a downwards trend and we're entering off our 4-hour zone, we're just looking to target the next 4-hour structure. As long as price is giving me a minimum of a 1 to 2 risk to reward in return, I am taking this trade, because at the end of the day, I'm risking money to double my money. I'm not risking money to get the same amount of money back. I want to double my money. So minimum, I'm looking for a 1 to 2. So therefore, we target our 4-hour structure point. Once price can reach that first structure point, this is when you allow price to continue to play out. After we not only hit that first target zone, where is another area I can see price reach if it does decide to break through this area? Well, the next area would be this next zone of support. Again, we have 1, 2, 3 signs of rejection, and that's more than enough because I only need a minimum of 2. As long as I see 2 rejections and they're respecting this zone with no problem, I will use that zone. In this case, we have 1, 2, 3 respecting this zone with no problem, using it as support and continuing towards the opposite, well, continuing towards the upside. So therefore, I wanted to see price reach that zone. Once price not only broke through this zone, you can see how much of bearish momentum we had, and that led us to the next zone, to where I was able to squeeze out a little bit more profit than I wanted to originally. I wanted to see price reach this area, giving me a 1 to 4% in return, but the original take profit, like I told you all, was these first 4-hour lows, giving me a minimum of a 1 to 2.2. After I saw price break, I went to my next zone, being here. Price gave me a minimum of a 1 to 4. And then lastly, I just held price until I seen that candlestick close, until I seen price start to reverse and give me another break of structure on the lower time frame, going from bearish to bullish. And that's when I decided to close this trade out for a beautiful 1 to 5.24% in return. And so you all, again, don't think I'm lying. I will show you the Discord to where we walk everybody through this entire trade. So we called this trade out that was this NZDCAD. You can see the first time we end up hitting our stop loss, we called it out, hitting our stop loss, still looks like a good trade. That was on 12/17 at 1:40 p.m. That same night we entered our position. As you can see, again, that break of structure happening back below that zone. This is when I told them, hey, let's see what happens. And then, like always, I give updates with the trade when we are in profit. If we was in drawdown, I would have gave them updates. Again, just giving them explanations on what to look for, what to wait on. You can see the first target zone being there. Second target zone, you can, oh yeah, you can see the second target zone being the next zone where we talked about being support, and how we actually entered this trade while we were out to eat. I wasn't able to post it, and I told them about this because I wanted to post it as I'm eating so you can see, oh, this dude's out to eat, working on the charts and not even at the setup, but he was still able to make money away from his setup due to a strategy he was able to develop, not through me, but through Christ, because he blessed me to be in this position. So I wanted to send that out, and not only was I not able to send it out, but I was having bad connection problems as well. Thank the Lord I was still able to enter my position, but we ended up showing them the upload problems I was having. So I just took a screenshot showing them, like, hey, I was trying to show y'all or tell y'all that we're entering this position right now. I just didn't have any connection to do so. So after I did that, like always, sending out updates, you can see how we hit that first zone with no problems whatsoever. And price then went to our next target and absolutely obliterated that next target zone. And you can see how crazy this was for me, because if you believe it or not, I was actually on the game while price was moving in our direction. I didn't record it. I should have recorded it. But after that game, I got off the game. Oh, I actually got a video. I'm gonna post a video. Woo! Yo, I was on a game. Look, I'm on the game. This just surprised me. Look how far price just dropped. Price just tanked. We just took this $58 account to $209. One trade. Bro, God is good. Oh my God. I'm about to close. Got off the game, celebrated. Didn't really celebrate, but I was just shocked that it took off that fast. Like, price was literally right here in this area as I'm playing the game, and then like an hour later we ended up all the way down here, just one based off of the correct market structure alone, us just trading the trend, riding the wave, right? So we was able to squeeze that out, and this is another trade that we called out, Euro USD. I can go back to it. You can see how we closed out here due to market structure alone. Pause the video. You can see this, and due to market structure alone, again, you can see how price was trending bullish. Price broke structure around here, going from bullish to now bearish. Got the retest of this beautiful zone to where we was treated as support and resistance. More than 2 taps, like I said before. After we got back below, you can see the rejection, treating it as resistance, and then price absolutely melted towards original target price. So the same strategy we used then, same strategy we use now, to where we was able to take this $56 to $208 in one single trade. Again, I just pray that you continue to work on your craft. I pray that you put Christ first, allowing him to guide you in this whole entire journey, and you continue to do your part. As long as you show up every day, giving it your all, you will be at a point where you will look back a couple months, a couple years from now and be like, man, I actually did it. I actually stuck with it, and I actually understand it. And you'll be doing the same thing, and I'm able to do for you all, which is giving you back the same knowledge, giving you back the same strategy, and really just cutting your time down when it comes to being a profitable trader within the market, based off of my experience, based off of my knowledge, and based off of where I am today compared to where I was a couple years ago. So I pray that you enjoy. I'm gone, and I will catch you all in the next one.